West Virginia comes out in a game that could have been a game where they slip up and let the Kansas game beat them. But they did not. They held on to really dominate Oklahoma State 69-50, despite a couple tough stretches, one early and then one late in the game. But they dominate to pull out a 69-50 win over the Oklahoma State Cowboys in Morgantown. What is up? Welcome to this live post-game edition of Hoops from the Hills. Thank you for joining the show. If you're watching on X, I ask that you please come over to my YouTube channel once the show's over. Come over to the Hoops from the Hills YouTube channel and subscribe over there. I will be covering West Virginia Mountaineer hoops all season long. So congrats to the Mountaineers for pulling off a big win. Again, pretty much dominated the game other than a couple stretches. But, Oklahoma State was not going to go away. Oklahoma State is a Big 12 team. They do have some talented players. They do have a good coach. So, probably to be expected that they weren't going to just let West Virginia dog walk them in the second half. So, anyway, let's go ahead and get into some stats for the game. We'll look at the team stats first, and then we'll get into some individual stats. And we'll talk about, did my three keys to the game hold true here? The ones I gave in my preview video as we go through this. When you look at the field goals, Oklahoma State did not shoot the ball well, 18 of 54, 33.3%, only 3 of 21 from three, which is 14%. I said going in, they did not shoot the ball well. I thought that would play right into West Virginia's hands because West Virginia is a really good defensive team as far as opponent field goal percentage. It held up here. West Virginia shot 23 of 55, 41.8%, so much better shooting. 11 of 30 from three for 36.7%. From the free throw line, 11 for 20. Oklahoma State was 11 for 20. West Virginia, 12 for 20. Neither team shot it very well from the stripe. 55% for Oklahoma State, 60 for West Virginia. Now, one of my keys was keeping Oklahoma State off the free throw line. They were averaging about 25 free throw attempts a game. So West Virginia held them under that average. So that is good. Would like to have seen them get to the line a little bit less, but nonetheless, they did get there less than their season average of 25. They made 11 of them, 55%. Rebounding. Offensive rebounds was tied 12-12. Total rebounds, West Virginia actually out-rebounded Oklahoma State 40-38 and out-rebounded them 28-26 in defensive boards. Why that is important. One of my other keys, keep Oklahoma State off the offensive glass. They were one of the top in the country in offensive rebound percentage. West Virginia tied them in offensive rebounds, and the fact that West Virginia got 28 defensive rebounds, that's 2 offensive rebounds, obviously, that Oklahoma State did not get. So West Virginia wins that battle, which, again, was one of my keys because that's what Oklahoma State likes to do. So keep going. Assists. West Virginia wins that one 15-5. Again, Oklahoma State, not great defensively in the half court as far as, opponent assist percentage and those types of numbers. So West Virginia wins that battle. Oklahoma State did have nine steals to West Virginia 7. But again, that's what Oklahoma State does. They steal the ball. They force you to turn it over. They had 15, they forced 15 West Virginia turnovers, but they had 17. Now, this is a key here that West Virginia did not achieve. I said that West Virginia needed to limit turnovers. They committed 15. That's really more than you want. But again, that's what Oklahoma State does. You could guess, or at least probably estimate, West Virginia was likely going to turn the ball over at least 10 times in a game going against a team like Oklahoma State who likes to press you, who likes to trap. We saw a lot of times they got West Virginia in trouble in those corner traps. Did a really good job, especially in the second half of that. But West Virginia did turn it over a little bit too much. I'd like to see that number come down. But if you remember in my pregame show, I said if West Virginia can at least accomplish 2 of the 3 keys of the game, they win. They did. They accomplished through offensive rebounding. They kept them off the offensive glass pretty well, and they kept them below their season average as far as free throw attempts. West Virginia, on the other hand, though, did win the turnover battle because they forced 17 Oklahoma State turnovers. Just absolutely elite defensive performance, in my opinion, at least late in the first half. Obviously, the game started out really slow. Neither team could score. West Virginia was not shooting the ball well, and then Oklahoma State wasn't either. And then West Virginia's defense, I said late first half. Really, it was the whole first half. West Virginia played elite defense. They're on-the-ball defense. by people like Sincere Harris, even Javon Small. I saw KJ Tenner play some really good defense. We saw Jonathan Powell playing and Toby. I mean, just pretty much every man on the floor, 1 through 5, plays really, really good defense, especially on the ball defense. They all do a good job of staying with their man in the man-to-man, staying between their man and the basket, not giving up easy points. They make their opponents work for every single basket, and that's what you need to do in this conference to win games. And that's what West Virginia does. They just try to outwork you. They do a great job of getting back on in transition defense. And again, I thought this was a favorable matchup for West Virginia, and I think that showed true today in this game, because I thought the things they do well were things that Oklahoma State struggled with on the other side, and vice versa. The things Oklahoma State typically does well at, West Virginia's pretty good at too. So we're pretty good at defending, or combating rather. Fast break points, 8 for Oklahoma State, only 1 for West Virginia. So, Oklahoma State won in that category, but again, that's really the way Oklahoma State gets points. They don't shoot the ball extremely well, so they get their points off of transition and from the free throw line. And really, 8 is not bad. 8 fast break points is not bad at all. And even West Virginia, I'd like to see West Virginia get more than 1, but really, if you notice the way West Virginia's philosophy here in this game, kind of like it was in the Kansas game, when they got the rebounds, you notice they didn't try to get out in transition and run. They tried to slow the game down, be methodical. There was a couple times, Javon Small was coming across the half-court line at around 8 or 9 seconds, right, after getting the ball in. So they were being very methodical, shooting the ball late in the shot clock, and they're not afraid to do that as long as they're taking good shots, because they're controlling the tempo, they're controlling the game, and that's what they were doing here. And I think one of the big reasons for that is, like I said, Oklahoma State likes to get up and down. That's how they score. So if you try to run, then you're kind of playing right into their hands, and Coach DeVries probably didn't want to do that. So he slowed it down, let West Virginia run their sets, run their screen and rolls, up their middle screen and rolls, pick and rolls, run their motions, run their sets, and just take your time, and it worked. That's why it was a lower scoring game than what I envisioned. I think I predicted 72-64, something like that. And 69-50 ended up being the score. I knew West Virginia would play good defense, but I didn't envision holding Oklahoma State to 50 points. Oklahoma State was averaging 76 points a game, folks, coming in here. 76 a game. West Virginia held them to 50. 26 points below their season average. Just an absolute awesome defensive performance. We look at points in the paint. Oklahoma State had 28 to West Virginia's 22. Osman, most of those came from Osman in the second half. He had a good second half. They were letting him get the ball deep in the paint a little bit too much. But I think a few of those, he was taking advantage of mismatches where he had some of West Virginia's smaller players guarding him. But I felt like when Eduardo Andre was in the game, he did a pretty darn good job of limiting that with Osman in the paint. And speaking of Eduardo Andre, him starting today, even though Osmani Hansberry was back, he likely wasn't ready to go, a ton of minutes. He only played 13 minutes in the game. But I kind of like the lineup with Andre in there. I think they may have found something here. Eduardo Andre has improved so much since the beginning of the year. He gives them somebody they can lob the ball to down low. He's somebody that can, cause chaos around the rim on the defensive end. I think I like. Well, it'll be interesting to see what Coach DeVries does going forward. But I think I would, if it was me, I think I might stick with this lineup and have Amani as my 6th man coming off the bench. That's just me though. Maybe you guys differ in that. But when you look at fouls, 22-16 in favor of Oklahoma committed more fouls than West Virginia, which again goes back to the key of keeping them off the free throw line. And then technical fouls, West Virginia did have the one on Jonathan Powell when he, I guess, taunted or said something to the Oklahoma State bench after one of Javon Small's threes. I'd actually seen him do that a couple times on his made threes, and I was actually surprised he didn't get called for one earlier, but I guess they were just kind of, warning him, hoping he wouldn't do it again, and he did it again. But anyway, I don't know all the details there. Obviously, West Virginia's at one time led by as many as 28 points. In the second half, Oklahoma State was able to carve that lead down. I think they got it within 12 at one time, something like that. And then West Virginia was able to pull away at the end. They made a couple more threes late and pulled away to win it by 19, 69-50. They were favored by, I think, 11.5 or 12.5, something like that. So they were able to cover. And again, like I mentioned, they held Oklahoma State well below their season average on points. They were averaging 76 a game. They held them to 50. So just a great performance by West Virginia on the defensive end. Let's look at the individual performances. Let's talk about Oklahoma State first. Their leading scorer was Marcellus Avery off the bench. He scored 15. He came in averaging about 12.5. He put in 15 to go along with 5 rebounds. Our friend Patrick Sumnick put in 3 points off the bench, played 12 minutes, right around his average. He was averaging about a little over 11 minutes a game. Abu Osman played 28 minutes down low, scored 14 points, also had 11 rebounds. So he had a double-double for the Cowboys, a good game from him. Most of those points, like I mentioned, came late in the game when they were able to take advantage of mismatches. Khalil Brantley, only 2 points and only 1 assist. So he struggled. Again, Sincere Harris, just cannot say enough about him and his on-ball defense. He is something special to watch. He's so fun to watch. And by the way, he came into the game, 0 of 26 or 0 of 27 from 3 and was able to knock down 2 threes in the game. So kudos to Sincere Harris for finally getting off the schneid when it comes to his three-point shooting. But again, I don't care if he makes any threes. If he can continue to play defense at the level he's playing at right now, I'll take it. He's an absolute dog on the defensive end of the court. Held Khalil Bentley to 2 points and only 1 assist. And he was averaging about 4.5 assists a game. Only had 1. So Bryce Thompson had 7 for the Cowboys. Arturo Dean had 6. And also committed 5 turnovers. And by the way, Khalil Bentley, the point guard, committed 5 turnovers. Brantley committed 5 turnovers or 3 turnovers on his own right. Let's get down to the Mountaineers now. Obviously, another awesome game from Javon Small, 24 points, 11 rebounds, 10 of those defensive rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. Just absolute great all-around performance by him. Just continues to play at an extremely high level. Came into the game averaging about 19 a game, goes above that with 24. The play that really sticks out to me with him is just his, and I put this out on my Hoops from the Hills Twitter account during the game. His basketball IQ to me is absolutely elite. He went up, I think this was in the first half, was going up for a 3-point shot, or he wasn't even going up yet. He had the ball at the top of the key, kind of between half court and the top of the key, and the Oklahoma State defender stuck his hand out straight out. Well, Javon was so quick to think, okay, if I go up with this shot, his arm is going to hook me, and I'm going to get 3 foul shots. So that's what he did. He forced a foul. He drew a foul by being smart, just based on where the defender's hand was placed while guarding him. I mean, that's just kind of stuff you don't normally see in basketball. I mean, that's just unbelievable basketball IQ, intelligence. Just shows why he's the player he is and why they trust him. He played a lot of minutes again, 36 minutes. Jonathan Powell played 34, Sincere Harris 33, Toby O'Connor 30, Eduardo Andre 27. Amani Hansberry, KJ Tenner, and Joseph Yesufu all played 13 off the bench. And, of course, Jake Hour came in late. Was not able to get a shot off. But just can't say enough about Javon Small. I put out on Twitter, making a prediction right now, Javon Small is going to continue to play at this level all year and still get snubbed for Big 12 Player of the Year. We all remember what happened to Kevin Jones that year in West Virginia. He was leading the league, Big East back then, in points and rebounds and still didn't get Player of the Year. Unbelievable. Anyway, hopefully that doesn't happen, but we'll see. Jonathan Powell, great game from him, was 5 of 7 from 3, 17 points, only 1 rebound. But again, he did a really good job, I thought, of guarding his man. And he's a 3-point specialist, and he really from the corner, he really drilled a lot of those threes from the corner. They get the ball down low to Andre, or even on that high roll, as they call it, as they were talking about. They actually talked about this during the game. And he gets the ball right around the free throw line. And first thing he does is look to the corner for Jonathan Powell to get off a shot. And he's usually money with that shot. Toby O'Connor with 5 points to go along with 7 rebounds. So a pretty good all-around game from him. Sincere Harris had 9 points, 3 steals, 2 assists, and 5 rebounds. And again, his on-ball defense is just phenomenal. And Andre had 7 points to go along with 10 boards, so almost a double-double for him. Also had another block and a steal. So, and then off the bench, Hansberry played 13 minutes. It was good to see him back in the fold. Looks like they're slowly bringing him back, bringing him along to make sure he's back in game shape. He had 6 points off the bench to go along with 3 assists and 3 rebounds. KJ Tenner had, 1 assist. But again, some really, really good on-ball defense from him. And then Yesufu came in and made 1 of 3 free throws for 1 point, also had 3 rebounds and an assist. So just quality minutes from everybody off the bench. And, but man, that starting 5 just played lights out. And just got to this team just continues to play good basketball. I mean, there are, the defense I mentioned, especially the transition. You see guys, as soon as they make a shot, they're running back down the court. Even if they take a minute to celebrate, they celebrate real quick, and then boom, they're right back down the court. Because you can tell that's something Coach DeVries preaches and his staff, that's something they preach, to make sure you hustle back down the court. All right, let's get to a few comments here, see what we got. Thanks to those of you who are joining. We've got a super chat here from Mark Painter. Mark, thank you for the $5 donation, sir. Appreciate your support. John Kelly says, Couz, West Virginia led the headlines on the national CBS broadcast with Iowa State and Baylor. They're starting to get recognition. You saw during the game, for those of you who was listening to the broadcast, I know a lot of you probably watch it and then listen to Tony on the radio, but they were talking about Player of the Year, National Player of the Year candidates, and they mentioned Javon Small in that conversation. Now, this is one man's opinion, but this team, and he even said that West Virginia and Drake, ironically, were the 2 biggest stories of the year, in his opinion, in college basketball, because Drake, I think, recently lost their first game of the year. DeVries leaves Drake, comes to West Virginia. They go out and hire Ben McCollum, who's a perennial Division II champion about every year. He comes in, and he has Drake rolling. They're picking up right where they left off, if not better. DeVries has West Virginia rolling after a 9-win season, completely flipping a roster. So 2 great stories there in Drake and West Virginia. But they're getting national attention now. And I think when the new AP poll comes out Monday, if they're not ranked, something is wrong. Something is terribly, terribly wrong. Jordan Couz says, undefeated in the Big 12, baby. Let's go Mountaineers. Absolutely. Absolutely. Charlie agrees with me. He says they better be in the top 25 tomorrow. What more do they have to prove? James Green says, good game today. Mark Painter, I want to be sure to show your comment since you made the donation. He says, O'Connell and Harris are sloppy dribblers. That hurts at times, especially on multiple possessions. West Virginia defense is stellar. Hansberry, not full speed yet. If our shooters shoot most shots, we win. Great comment. They do get sloppy at times, and late in the game, which is actually something I was going to touch on. I want to be objective here. So I want to talk a little bit about a few things I noticed that they can work on. And one of those is, trying to keep the ball in the hands of your good ball handlers, of the Javon Smalls, the KJ Tenners of the world, as much as possible. Harris and O'Connell, I don't like them handling the ball a ton. It seems like when they do, they tend to get in trouble. They tend to get in bad situations, like those traps, for example. And then they struggled a little bit when Oklahoma State started making their shots a little bit more consistently in the second half, and they gave them time to set up that press. West Virginia struggled a little bit. West Virginia struggled a little bit with that press, and that's something that teams are going to look at now. I expect to see more full court pressure against this West Virginia team and more teams trying to trap in the corner. They caught them multiple times, forced a few turnovers. A couple times, Oklahoma State committed fouls there where they probably shouldn't have. But teams are going to take note of that. So West Virginia, I'm sure Coach DeVries will work on it and talk about it in film study, but they've got to do a better job of handling the full court pressure, and they've got to do a better job of staying out of those traps at half court, because teams are now going to see that on tape. But again, every game you come out with something new to learn, right? And something to work on, and I'm sure Coach DeVries will work on that. And look, he's obviously proven that he's a fantastic basketball coach. And he's proven that he has guys. These guys have proven that they're very coachable. So I'm sure they'll come out and improve on that, come out the next game. John Kelly says, make sure coach gets an extension. Absolutely. Tosh Miller says, Good time to bet on us for a natty long shot before the odds change. If you're going to do that, even though they're not a sponsor of this particular show, they are a sponsor of my Couz's Corner Show. BetUS has a real good deal going right now. If you don't have a sports book already, John Kelly says solid win today. We really be dangerous with Stone and Hansberry more healthy. Absolutely. WV Earl in the house says let's go. Trey Edwards in the house. WV Mountaineer Lair with Kenny's in the house. He says they're a ball movement elite team. They are great at moving the basketball. Like I mentioned in one of my other shows, or I probably mentioned in every show, the ball doesn't stick much. You don't see them. Yes, occasionally you'll see guys dribble too much, but most of the time, especially if Javon has it out front, the ball doesn't stick. You don't see him doing a bunch of crazy dribbling. They move it. They're setting screens. They're rolling to the rim. They're rolling, to the middle, whatever. The ball don't stick, and they don't do they don't try to come down and play hero ball, as I like to call it, and play a bunch of one-on-one ball like to be honest with you, is what we normally see in today's game. Whether it, I watch high school ball quite a bit. I watch college ball, and in the NBA, it's, you see it even more. But you don't see a whole lot of hero ball, guys trying to go one-on-one with this team. The ball don't stick. They pass it, they move it, and they do it without turning it over most of the time, which is even more impressive. Shannon Miller says whether they are lesser talented, equal talented, or more talented, this team does the same thing. Whoop people's asses. I like it, Shannon. They figure it out, man. They come into every game with a game plan, and they execute the game plan. Not always to perfection, but they do enough to win, and it's pretty fun to watch. Yes, they should be ranked this week, Mike Young. Jackson Clark in the house. He says easy spot for a letdown after the big win. I'm glad they buckled down and got it done, even though the second half was less than stellar. Yeah, and letdown was the word I was trying to think of in my opening one that I botched, by the way. I was trying to say, hey, this was a perfect spot for a letdown, and I had a brain fart. Couldn't think of the word. But nonetheless, that's the word I was looking for. It was a great spot for a letdown, and they didn't do it. They didn't let it happen. WVU should be streaming their own games. I'd rather pay them $10 a game than pay $90 a month for a streaming service. Use the money for NIL. Well, the problem is, Eric, they are contractually obligated through the Big 12 to do that. So some of these games, so I don't think they have much of a choice, to be honest with you. But I understand the frustration for sure. Ramathina watching on X says, let's go Mountaineers. Mercer County brother following up. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it, brother. For those of you who are watching on X like Ryan, please come over to the YouTube channel once the show's over, Hoops from the Hills, and subscribe. Check out the past videos I've done. I will be covering West Virginia basketball all year long. Our women play this afternoon at 6. Hopefully we can catch that as well. I don't plan on doing a show after that one. Sorry, ladies. I would love to be able to cover them a lot, but time is of the essence. Couz, we agree on 95% of things. At least Harris hit his 3. Yes, he did. He did. Shannon Miller says, this is hard edge. Absolutely. Shaq says, Mounties were rolling. They have to have played one of the hardest schedules so far in the country. It's got to be up there. I would love to see a strength of schedule ranking. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. I just haven't looked for it. Ernie B says, this team can get hot quick. It overcomes the cold streak so far. We could be a season. They predict it's Small to win the Big 12 Player of the Year. And if he keeps playing like this and West Virginia keeps winning, he should win it. But, again, they have to keep winning, too. That matters. Randomly Savage says, don't forget to drop a like and hit the subscribe. Please do that. Hit the thumbs up on whether you're watching this live or watching it on the replay. The thumbs up really, really helps. Helps that algorithm. Helps that algorithm. Yeah, Ernie, thank you for correcting that. I did notice the typo earlier, but no biggie. Says our hot streaks have overcome our cold spell so far. This could be a great season. And what helps them overcome it is their defense. When you play defense the way this team plays defense, you can go through some scoreless streaks, or you can go through some periods where you get cold. But if you play elite defense and the other team, and you don't allow the other team to make too many runs, because everybody's going to make a run occasionally, right? It's basketball. That's just how the flow of the game goes. If you can limit those runs, even if you get cold, you can still come out on top. I love this comment. He put this on X earlier. It ain't easy against DeVriesy. Sound fundamental basketball. Absolutely, Jeff. Perfect And well said. Shaq says, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. For those of you watching on X, you're probably watching this on the Couz's Corner X channel. I'm not able to stream on Who's from the Hills one, unfortunately, but I have more followers over here anyway. And by the way, if you are watching on X on Couz's Corner, do me a favor, come over to @hoops_heels304 and give me a follow there. I'm trying to build that X account up. I'm going to try to start posting more over there. I forget to do it a lot because it's a new account, but @hoops_heels304. No excuses. Absolutely right. And also, I do want to remind you guys, I don't know how many of you would be interested in any merch from my merch store. I do have some pretty cool designs over there. There's a special going on right now where you can get I was going to try to show you a picture of one of my shirts, but I don't have it up. You can get 25% off through January 6th. I've got a shirt that has the West Virginia logo versus, and I say logo, it's the outline of the state of West Virginia versus, and then a globe for West Virginia versus the world. I've got one of those. It's pretty cool over there. My guy, Luke Bart, who's a VIP member over at Couz's Corner's YouTube, he's got one. He can tell you it's a really good shirt. And then I've got obviously the Couz's Corner logo. But if you want to take advantage of a 25% off discount, go over to Couz's Corner. It's or go over to my YouTube channel, and you'll see it in the description box. You'll see the link to go shop, or you can just go to Couz's-corner.myspreadshop.com. It's Couz's-corner.myspreadshop.com, and it'll take you right into my page, and you get 25% off through January 6th. Okay, it's enough trying to sell. Let's go back to the show. We've got Sasquatch 304 says the merch is good quality too. I have a t-shirt and a hoodie. Both are great. I do recommend, and I know it's more expensive, but there's two different levels of quality you can get on the t-shirts. The less expensive one is obviously lower quality, and I've got one of those myself. It's not great. I ain't gonna lie to you. But if you get the premium, those are the ones that are really high quality. They are more expensive, but they're higher quality. So again, buy whichever one you like. But I'm just being honest. The lower quality, it's just like anything else in life. You get what you pay for, right? But I would have, if you guys are in the need for that or want one of those, go check it out. Also have other things like coffee cups, beanies, all kinds of different things over there. Not just t-shirts, by the way. There's hoodies, hats. See, Benny and the Butcher says, let's go Mountaineers. Jake T says, I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself because I know Oak State isn't the greatest this year, but dang, this team is incredible. Hard not to get ahead of yourself, Jake. Shannon Miller says 8th seed in Joe Donardi's recent tournament update. A lot of opportunities to move up or down. Pretty impressive. I think they might move up after this week. Did he put that out after the Kansas game or before? I would be interested because I haven't seen it yet, Shannon. John Kelly says, apparently we beat them worse than Houston did, so it makes you wonder about us playing at Houston in the middle of January. Well, that game against Houston, though, to play devil's advocate to that, John, that game was in Stillwater as well, so that might have made a difference. It was on Oklahoma State's home floor. But, yes, I think West Virginia can play or beat any team in this conference. I think they've proven it with wins over Gonzaga, Kansas on the road without two starters. They can play with anybody. They can. Don't be surprised if they go out here and beat Houston or Iowa State or one of these really good teams in this conference. Baylor. Now they're not going to go undefeated in the Big 12. Okay, I don't think so. I'm not going to sit here and act like that's happening. But I think they've proven they can play with anybody, and on any given day they can win against anybody. Now you're probably not going to get away with having the bad scoring droughts that they had today. One early in the game and then the one there early in the second half. You're probably not going to get away with that against teams like Houston and Iowa State and Baylor, but you can still beat them. Absolutely. After doesn't include today. Okay, I'll be anxious to see where he puts, because I thought I saw one. It may have even been on a broadcast today where they had West Virginia as a 2 seed. I don't know. Is that accurate? Where did I see that at? Curtis D316 says if the NCAA makes eligibility 5 years for all sports like they are saying, DeVries won't have to mentally redshirt. He can play the rest of the season and come back next year. True, but if his shoulder is hurt as bad as it could be, he may need to take the year off to get it healthy. I don't know. Assuming it's a shoulder. They haven't officially announced it yet. That's the speculation. It's alleged. So I better say allegedly. But it's allegedly his shoulder. And if that's the case, then he may need to, wait a bit before coming back. Shaq says he likes how they bounce back from their losses. That's very, very great point. They seem to stay even keel, whether they win, whether they lose. They're taking a game-by-game approach, a business-like approach. They come out every game with the same mindset, and I like that. Kelsey Whitlack says, "Sorry, I'm late. Can we ban the refs from last 2 games? They stunk. Weren't great. A lot of I thought this game had a lot of ticky-tack calls in it, and it went both ways. There were obvious fouls that didn't get called. When guys were knocking each other down and yanking each other to the ground. They wouldn't call those, but they were calling little ticky-tack stuff. So I agree with you, Kelsey. The officiating was left much to be desired." Leo Cole says, "Hey, Couz, have you heard on WVU player Stone and when he will play?" I have not, Leo. I have not. And we probably won't know until we see him out there, to be honest. But him being a fifth-year guy, I'm assuming he's going to have to play this year. I don't know if he has another year of eligibility left, unless he too takes a medical red shirt. That would be interesting. Kelsey Whitlack says, "I'm just wondering, do the announcers still not know how to pronounce the coach's name? They called him DeFreeze all game long. It was embarrassing." I've actually heard a lot of people call him that, to be honest. So I hope I haven't been pronouncing it wrong the whole time, but I'm pretty sure it's DeVries with a V, not a F. But anyway, and they also mispronounced Joseph Yesufu's name, I think, a lot all day today, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think his name is Yesafu. Pretty sure it's not Yesafu, but maybe I'm the one wrong. I don't know. All right. Well, listen, I don't have a whole lot left to talk about, guys. Just to recap, obviously West Virginia wins 69-50. Jonathan Powell had 17 points on 5 of 7 from 3. Javon Small, another great game, 24 points, 11 boards. Did a great job running the offense. Marcellus Avery for Oklahoma State came off the bench to score 15. Just an absolute dominant win. West Virginia did have a couple of spells in the game early in each half where they were struggling to make shots. Some of the credit to that goes to Oklahoma State, ramping up their defensive effort in the second half too, though. They did force 15 West Virginia turnovers, but West Virginia forced 17 Oklahoma State turnovers. And that was, a huge difference in the game. And then West Virginia was able to out-rebound Oklahoma State. That was a huge difference in the game. And Oklahoma State went to the free throw line 20 times and only made 12 shots. That was big. Now, West Virginia didn't do much better, but that's not really what, West Virginia is part of Oklahoma State's game is getting to the free throw line. It's one of their strengths. So for them to get there and not make them, that really helped play into what West Virginia likes to do. And then West Virginia made several threes in the game. Again, they did what they like to do. They shot 3-pointers well, did a lot of ball movement on the offensive end, and just played absolute lockdown defense, which is what this team is going to hang its hat on. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country statistically. Did not change anything today. If anything, it improved today. Sincere Harris, again, holding his guy in check. Team had several steals today, just like always. Eduardo Andre continues to improve every single game, doing a great job playing around the rim defensively, finishing around the rim offensively. So just a good all-around team win once again for this Mountaineer team. WVU Mountaineer Lair with Kenny says, "Can't wait to get another 25-point-a-game player really soon." I assume you're talking about Tucker. Kelsey says, "Yeah, he did what he did for us. Sumnick did not do much." Yeah, Sumnick didn't have a great game today, only scored 3 points. Javon Small, according to Kelsey, has really been player of the year, in my opinion. I agree. Not sure who else you could put it on, who else you could give it to at this point in the Big 12. All right. I'm going to jump off of here, guys. I appreciate you hopping in. Thanks again for tuning into this post-game show. If you got in late, don't worry. You can go back and watch the replay and check out the whole show. I appreciate everybody's support. Please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, whether this is live or on the replay. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're on Twitter, again, come over to Hoops from the Hills. On YouTube, subscribe. And also follow me at Hoops_Hills304 on X on my new account. So thanks. Have a great day. It's a great day to be a Mountaineer. And I'm done.